Hello, everybody. This is Brandi Spencer from Brandi L Spencer Coaching and Personal Development. And today I am here with my Mogul in the Making series with my special guest, who is Akilah Thompkins Robinson, and she's the owner of OnlineBoutiqueSource.com. Hello, Akilah. How are you today?
Hi, Brandy. How you doing?
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us. You are my second guest, and I am thrilled to have you here.
Glad to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Well, I want to honor your time, so let's get right into it.
Okay.
So, my first question is one that I ask everybody, and that's why did you decide to go into business for yourself?
Well, I decided to go into business for myself because I thought I had a lot to share. I've actually been in various businesses, and I have another company, which is a design company, for a little over 10 years now. And just kind of the evolution of going from a hobby to a freelance to a business to actually, starting to coach and just expand my services and build services to help people.
And you said that you're a coach. What do you help your clients do? What do you coach them in?
I help them with e-commerce coaching. So I help women, well, predominantly women, but of course men I'll help too. But predominantly women who want to open an online store. So it's very specific. If you want to sell a product, if you want to somehow get on the web with a store, if you already have a brick and mortar store and you just want to bring it online, those are the kind of sites and the kind of businesses that I work with.
Okay. And nowadays, who are those people? Who do you typically see thinking about starting online businesses and specifically e-commerce sites?
A lot of different people, ironically enough. I mean, e-commerce is really big now. The web has made it, and tools on the web have made it so easy to start an online store and get products. So whether it's a crafter or if it's someone who's going to work with a wholesaler and just wholesale and bring things together, there's a lot of opportunity out there. Most of the people that I work with and that seem to be attracted to my brand and what I'm doing are generally women, usually between the age of like the mid 20s to mid 30s, sometimes a little more or less. A lot of women who want to go into fashion, like selling clothing or selling jewelry. So those are kind of my two really big industries that I work with a lot. I also like to work with, I like to work with crafters a lot because I'm pretty creative, so I like to see what they can create and help them sell what they can create. So I've worked with a couple of people who do like soap making and jewelry making because it's kind of along the lines with fashion. But anything in that realm, it's really who I work with predominantly.
Great, great. And I think that that's so awesome because by being able to go around the middleman and be able to take your product or your service straight to the market, that opens so many opportunities for so many women out there. So I'm so excited about your program and your upcoming webinar that I'll get to about let you talk about later.
Okay.
But that's awesome. Very good. So you said that there was a transition. It was a hobby. Then you decided to maybe become a freelancer and do it part time. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey?
Well, I started out, my journey started with web and graphic design, which is where I've learned a lot of things and working with people and everything. So, starting college, I took some design courses when I was in college and I did like kind of, I'm in a sorority, I did my sorority's first website, my chapter, not the whole sorority, just my chapter's first website, and a bunch of different, we did flyers and stuff like that. And this was way back in the 90s. So, not way, way back, I know, but back far enough that everything was just kind of, I don't want to offend anyone, but, I was there in the 90s too. But back far enough that everything was still kind of new. The technology was new. Everything was a little bit more basic than it is now. But I took design classes. My undergrad is in marketing and PR, so I kind of already had the marketing and PR stuff going on. And then I started getting the more technical end of like Photoshop and learning HTML and really, really hardcore programming and web design. This is before WordPress got big in the whole nine. And started out again as a hobby and just doing it. Then I moved into freelance, and I was doing a couple of clients and working for a couple of people, taking work here and there and that type of thing. And actually I'm now more of a WordPress developer. Because of WordPress, I was able to grow and take on more of a steady customers, steady clients, not just a job here and there, because I could only handle but so much. Doing everything hard code, WordPress actually made that a lot easier for me, even from the designer standpoint. And working with those clients and working with them and building their websites, worked with a lot of small businesses, various kinds, so contractors, nonprofit organizations, e-commerce, which was always my favorite. One of the big things, like the underlying thing I always would get from small businesses was, after maybe 6 months or a year or 8 months of their business being launched, was my website doesn't work. And these, again, not very technical people, not folks who are hanging out on Facebook all day learning marketing like we do, but just I'm a brick and mortar, or I've got a regular business and I need a website. I got a website and I'm expecting my website to do all of these great things just by putting it out there. And it doesn't. Websites don't do that. They're pretty much tools. And that brought me into more of the marketing realm of things. So I started to learn and study like social media, content marketing, and just everything in the whole how to make your website do things online, like not do things like
Mhm.
flips, but how to make it, get it really out there and get the message that you want across to your customer, to your ideal person, and really bring in the traffic and get the results from a website that you want, because the website it's just so much more than just putting up a brochure out there on the web.
It is, and it can be overwhelming, right?
Yes,
So,
very much so. And that's what it wind up being for people, because they were like, well, I mean, literally, I would get calls that my website's not working. And I would go and check, and I'm like, yeah, it's working.
it's all right. It's
Yeah,
working.
like, did you tell anyone about it? Did you put it on a business card?
Mhm. Because many
Something.
people think you build it and they're just going to automatically start flooding your website and
Yeah, and
posting
I even
comments.
adopted the little phrase, if you build it, they won't come, because
Exactly.
that's really what it is. You build it and they won't come. So either way, working with customers and working with people in those kind of realms, that's how I got into my niche of what I liked most. So the clients I worked the most were stores and e-commerce, and got into more of coaching, because now I was doing not just building their site, but I was sitting there trying to help them get their site to work and actually grow a business based on their site. So that's how I evolved from hobby to freelance to me.
Mhm. To you. We're glad that you're you.
Yeah.
So here's a question. So since it can be such an overwhelming topic, could you give us maybe 3 tips or 3 basic things that my viewers could do to help their website work?
The first thing with any business, and not even just your website, is your target market. So knowing your target market, even, and I wasn't that specific with my target market when we just talked about it, but knowing, your age range, your sex, what they like, what they do, what they're into, that is number one with starting any business, creating any marketing, any website, anything you're going to do, knowing your target, making sure that your content speaks to your target. So if you've figured out that your target audience is like a housewife in New Jersey, I happen to be in New Jersey, not necessarily a housewife yet, I'm working on that. But if you figured out that your target was a housewife in New Jersey, then you necessarily don't want to have the whole Miami club look and feel, because that's just not going to appeal to them as much. It may appeal to them when they're dreaming of being on vacation, but that's only 1 or 2 times a year, and that's not going to really bring in the type of sales that you want. So, knowing your target audience, making sure that you're speaking to your target audience, and not being afraid of customer service. That's the other last thing, especially with e-commerce, that people think, okay, I'm going to put it out there, I'm going to sell it, and it's just going to fly out the place, and no one's going to ask me any questions, no one's going to return any products, it might even ship itself. So a lot of people don't think of the customer service end of it. Like when I work with clients, I actually, we talk about websites. I do have a 10-week program. We talk about websites like week 8, because the 9 and 10 are dedicated to things like your customer service, because there's more to it after you've gotten up there and running.
Absolutely. Excellent advice. Excellent advice.
Thanks.
So what's coming up for you? Talk to us about what you're doing. Maybe some, videos, webinars. What's going on? What are you doing next?
Well, I have various services and coaching services on the site. I also have, some freebie services, a really good opt-in for people. One of the things I'm working on now, because the holiday season is coming, so for online retailers, the holiday season is big. This is like your one time a year to really make it or break it for some people. So every year I like to do a holiday boot camp. Last year I did a 21-day tips holiday boot camp. This year I'm doing a 30-day, but it's 15 steps, so it's a little bit less steps, but we're going to stretch it out some, give people more time to work on things. And to kick that off, I'm doing a webinar on October 15th about online ads, so Facebook ads for online retailers. So we see a lot of things for Facebook ads for marketers and Facebook ads for coaches, but you don't really see anything about how you can make it work for your online store. So my goal is to teach everyone how to buy online Facebook ads and how to create Facebook ads and really set them up for that success that they're going to have this holiday season, because running ads I think will be really profitable and really big this holiday season.
Mhm. And I know, Akilah, you've given me some awesome advice as I've started to think about rebranding my website. So for all of you who are watching, that's definitely a webinar that you need to check out. And Akilah, is there any fee associated with the website, with the webinar?
The webinar itself is free. So this is, like I said, the kickoff to the program. I'll talk more about the program at the very, very end of the webinar. But for the kickoff, this is free, and it'll be available to anyone who, I'll give you the link so you can put the link in your show notes. But anyone who signs up, it's going to be free, and just join in and learn about Facebook ads for online retailers.
Excellent. Well, I would like to thank you so much for being the October Mogul in the Making. And I would like to thank you for giving us the time to find out more about you. We really appreciated those 3 tips. Follow those 3 tips, they're good ones. And any parting words or anything you'd like to say before we go?
Nope, just follow your dreams. And I know that sounds very cliche, but in this world, like I've answered a couple of questions. People are like, "What are you most thankful for?" And my new answer for what am I most thankful for is opportunity. The world is full of
Amen.
opportunity. There's so many things that we can do now with technology, just the freedoms we have, everything we have, that we have the opportunity to really make our dreams come true. So I advise everyone to take that opportunity and follow your dreams.
Well said.
Thanks.
Thank you so much, Akilah. And thank you for joining us. Bye-bye.
Bye.